we're going to start looking at testing our face rigs, animating a little piece of audio. Okay, so first of all, we need the audio. Okay, now I got a couple of clips, okay, which I've basically chosen because of, well, a few reasons. They're short, okay, they're out of the ordinary, and they're also overly dramatic. Okay, so in the sense that it's overacted, and it's really easy to animate to because there's so much like performance in that sense in the voice. Okay, which makes it pretty cool. Okay, I've copied I'll upload these onto Classrooms. Let me just make sure I don't blow you all away. Okay, so there's 5 of them. There's 2 female ones and 3 male ones. Okay, and the first one's from, I think it's from Gone with the Wind.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Okay, so clearly here.
After all, tomorrow is another day.
Okay, so that was about 6 seconds. As you can see, it's like you can sense the like drama in it. I mean, it's very theatrical in that sense. Okay, that's why I've gone for mostly old films. This one is the most subdued one. It's from Braveheart.
Every man dies. Now every man really lives.
Okay, so it's very timid in that sense.
Every man dies. Now every man really lives.
Okay, short, sweet. This one's from Casablanca.
He's looking at you, kid.
Okay.
He's looking at you, kid.
Short and sweet. Psycho.
We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
Okay, a little bit of a gap in the middle. And then...
I have a feeling we're not in Kansas anymore.
Okay. Wizard of Oz. Okay, so most of them slightly overacted, okay, except for the one, which is cool. I definitely find when animating, especially for animation, that if the voices aren't very emotive, that it's incredibly difficult to make it match up with the animation. Okay, so these, in a sense, are quite overacted. So I want all of you for the next 2 weeks. I've also shuffled things around a bit in terms of the brief. We're supposed to start with shooting references for our animation this week, but we can do that next week. And we're starting this week with the facial test instead of next week. So we're just flipping those 2 around. Okay. Okay, so you need to choose one of those, okay, and start with the animation this week. I'll upload them onto Classrooms. You can download it there. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is show you how to get your audio into Blender. And what we're going to do to begin with. Okay, so first of all, to get the audio in, okay, you need to open a new panel. Okay, so new panel, and set it to be the video sequence editor. Okay, in here, this is basically literally just like a video editor. So we have lots of different tracks and that kind of thing, which we can start using. Okay, so to start with, we need to say add sound, straightforward. Find your sound, mine is on the desktop, and say add sound strip. Okay, that'll then add it wherever your time frame or your cursor is. You can drag it around, okay, and move it into the right place. You can also quite easily just zoom into it so you can see it a bit better. Now, when you do this, by default, you're not going to see the sound wave there. To get that, you need to say view waveform drawing and say on. Okay, by default it's off. Okay. Then what you also need to do is in your timeline, go to playback and say audio scrubbing. Okay, if that's off, you're not going to hear anything. Okay, so by checking that on, we can scrub here and hear exactly what's going on. Okay, let me just put this louder again. Okay, so I've chosen a piece from Sin City. Okay, and what I want to do just to start with is to set the you can drag this obviously. So just set it so that it starts at the right point. So, because there's a bit of silence in the beginning. A little bit longer. Okay, so.
Jerks. Should shut up.
Okay, so now if we scrub over there, we can see the waveform. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a way that you can actually see the waveform in a timeline, so that's why I keep this open. But I do keep it nice and small and just zoom in as much as I can, so you can clearly see what's happening, unless you lose it like I just did. There we go. Okay, so having done that, damn it, just move down. Okay, anyway, it's gonna have to do. Okay, so there we can see our waveform. There we go. Ha! Took a while, but we got there. And by scrubbing, we can hear exactly what's going on. Okay, so for this piece, okay, it's Marv sitting wherever saying some stuff.
Jerks. They should have shot me in the head, and enough times to make sure.
Okay, so it goes on for quite a while. But anyway, so this is that. Now, the first thing that you need to know, if you play this in Blender, okay, you'll notice over there, just proves it to you, it says this frame rate, which there says it's 10 or 12, okay? However, it's playing the audio back at full speed. So that means we can't click play and expect this to actually look right, okay, so whatever we're animating. So in order to actually test our animation, we need to make a play blast or a capture of this, okay, which is basically just a recording of the viewport at real time with the audio. Okay, now to do that, which is the most important part of knowing if anything works, what we need to do is go into our scene settings, okay, and then we need to set our output over here to be a H.264 video, okay, also save it somewhere, and then go to encoding. I've never actually used the presets, but if you set it to H.264, everything should be fine, okay. All that you do need to make sure of is that the audio codec is set to MP3 or something, and not none. If it's set to none, it's not going to record the audio. Okay, so as long as you know where that is, to make a capture of this, all that you do is click that little clapperboard button, which is OpenGL Render Active Viewport, and you click there, and then it will render it for you. Also, the size at which your render is set over there is then the size which it will record at. So if I then press escape, it'll stop. And if we go to that folder, I've then got I believe it's this one.
Jerks.
Okay, the video with the audio of my screen. Okay, which is pretty important. Without that, you really can't get much. Okay, so that's the technical stuff. Now, we're not going to go into a lot of detail about lip syncing. This is basically just to test it and see if it works. We'll go into more detail about the actual lip syncing when we animate next module, okay, when we get there and do it in detail. So where we're going to begin for now is with the biggest movements of our face, okay? So literally the jaw. Okay, the most difficult thing about lip syncing is getting the timing right, okay, to make the character actually look like those words are coming out of his mouth, okay? So to be able to get the timing right, that's entirely based on when the mouth opens and closes. Okay, it's not the shape of the lips or anything. Okay, so literally only the opening and closing of the mouth. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to go through the audio, and for this week at least, only animate the jaw opening and closing so that we know that the timing is right. Okay, now it sounds possibly simpler than it is. For example, if I ask you how many times does your mouth open and close when you say hello? Twice. Okay, twice is your rookie mistake answer, because a lot of people, when they start doing this, they interpret syllables as actions. Okay, so you're saying hello as opening your mouth for the ha and opening mouth for the lo. Your mouth doesn't always close in between syllables or sounds. Okay, remember we're animating the sound of the word, not the spelling either. Okay, it's phonetics. Okay, so what we need to do is look at the audio in terms of what it sounds like. Okay, so not the spelling. Okay, also take into account the actual accent. Okay, the particular accent that a person has also influences the actual way that the mouth moves. Okay, so if we take the word hello, for instance, your mouth opens when you say ha. Okay, by the time your mouth is open, a ha comes out of it. And then to go low, you close your lips. Okay, so your mouth only opens once and then closes again. Okay, so it's only once. And that is where 90% of people go wrong. So they go and animate the mouth open for each syllable, and then when it plays back, it looks like this weird, like, chipmunk chattering away. Okay. Remember, you as a human, okay, your body tries to conserve as much energy as possible. Okay, you're not going to speak at an incredibly, your jaw is not going to move very quickly, okay, because you use too much energy. Okay, so generally speaking, your jaw moves as little as possible, okay, to conserve as much energy as possible, and because of that, it's generally moves a lot less than what you would anticipate. Okay, so that is the hard part, actually getting it to look right. Now, the easiest way to do this is either using a mirror or using your hand. Okay, so if you put your hand under your chin, okay, and if you say the line, so if you say hello, you'll find that you're feeling your jaw only moves down once. Okay, so you need to go make sure that for each of the words in the audio that you've chosen, you know mechanically what your mouth is doing. Okay, so we're just going to look at this and see how we can do this. Okay, so for now, as I said, all we're doing is we're animating just the up and down of the jaw. Okay, so I'm going to reset it. And to do this a little bit easier, I is the button to insert a keyframe. Okay, however, sorry, let me just delete that. Go away. Okay, so when we animate things in Blender, we generally use things called keying sets. Okay, if we just press I, it's going to give you an option of on what exactly do you want to put a keyframe on. Okay, now all of these are what we can do. So we can put a keyframe just in the location, just the rotation, just in the scaling. For the purpose of what we're doing now, all we want to do is put a keyframe on the location. Okay, however, we don't each time want to say location, location, location. So if we go into this little panel over there, we can say location only once, and every time we press I, it's going to add a keyframe on the control on the location. Okay, so it just makes it a bit quicker. So if we take this, for instance, and just zoom in a little bit. Okay, first of all, starting with his mouth closed, he then says ha. Okay, so spoiler alert, you're going to go crazy by the time you finish animating. Okay, because listening to for 6 weeks will drive you mad. Okay, so just be aware of that. I know it's really frustrating, but you get used to it. Okay, so first of all, if he's making a ha sound, when does his mouth start to open? Okay, his mouth needs to be open before the sound can come out. Okay, for a particular ha, you can't go and then open your mouth. Okay, so we need to make sure that his mouth is open before the sound actually comes out. Okay, so zooming in. So over there, his mouth is already making a sound. That means before that, thereabout, his mouth needs to be open. Okay, so open it, press I. Okay, and just close it as well. So Alt G I. Okay, so it needs to be open before the time. However, it's taking awfully long for him to open his mouth. So over there, about maybe over there. Just going to close it again. Press I. And then it goes further open. And then over there, it needs to close again for the anticipation of the jerks. Okay, so okay, so if we now want to see if that's actually working, what we can do is go click over there and say render what I've done. Wait until it's done the piece that I want to see and press escape. Go into the folder where it has saved it.
Jerks.
Sorry, not that one. Okay, and if you're happy with it, you go on. Okay, so that is literally all we're doing this week. Okay, we're just doing the up and down motion. Okay, so I'm going to do a couple and then go to my old file where I've got all of it done. Okay, so there more or less needs to be opening in for the jerks. Okay, and for this, it needs to close. Okay, so then for the they, before the most of it needs to be open. So, okay, close a little bit for the shh. Shot. He says they should have shot me in the head. It's a little morbid, but anyway. Okay, so I know I'm gonna go for the big shapes first. I know that shot needs to be big. Okay, so okay. Okay, so for this shh before the shot, it still needs to be a little bit more closed. So close it a little bit more. Okay, and the me is a dead giveaway. You need to close your mouth for that. So okay, let's see if we can get it a little less closed. Okay, so there's a little bit more. Let's see what we've done. Now, don't even bother just playing that. I mean, always make a capture. Otherwise, you may as well be guessing.
Jerks. They should have shot me in the... Jerks. They should have shot me in the...
Now,
Jerks.
where do you look at a person when they're busy talking to you? You mostly look at someone's eyes when you're talking to them, okay? It's very seldom that you focus on someone's mouth when they're speaking because it's awkward, okay? So if you also do this and look at his eyes, okay? I mean, so far it's fine, but if you look at his eyes, you'll see it actually feels...
They should have shot me in the... Jerks. They should have shot me in the...
Okay, it seems
Jerk.
believable enough, okay? So that is literally what we need to do. We need to go through the whole clip and just open and close the mouth. Okay. Now remember that for big shapes, your mouth needs to be open before the sounds can come out. Okay. And for mms and buzz and piz and certain shapes, your mouth needs to be closed. Okay. So all that I need you guys to do for now is go and open and close his mouth. And just by doing that one control in one direction up and down, make sure that it looks like the character speaking. Okay. Don't worry about anything else. And also remember that your jaw can only move so quickly. Okay, so if you have keys on consecutive frames, for instance, it's going to look weird, okay, because your mouth can't move that quickly. And also, like a frame or a key every like 3 or 4 frames may be the most that you can do. Any faster than that, and it's going to look like he's gibbering. Okay, so if you go through it and find that it looks like there's too much movement, go take some of those frames out. Focus on the big shapes, focus on the closed shapes. Okay, so like I did here, I did very little. Okay, so I went for a they and then should have shot. Okay, so I literally had to open a they and the shot, and in between, your brain fills the rest in. Okay, because if you actually look at someone's mouth, not all the sounds make a movement. Okay, so like throat sounds, like all your k's and g. Okay, that happens in your throat, you don't see that. Some of the sounds may be a tongue, so a lot of them you don't actually animate that much. Okay, so for now, I'm not going into very much detail. We'll focus a lot more on the actual structure of it when we do it next module. But on you go like that until you have a lot more done. So here I've started actually, okay, once you've done that, then we go and start coloring it in by adding the rest of the shapes of the mouth. Okay, so we add then the corners of the mouth moving around, the rolling of the lips, you know, the weird shapes, the tongue, all of that. So here,
enough times to make sure it's so stupid. Everybody knows what's coming.
okay, so there I just did the up and down, and then in the beginning I just added in some of the
Jerks. They should have shot me in the head enough time to make sure.
okay, so that's literally all that we do. So if we just go and play this one.
Jerks. Jerks.
Okay, so you see there, then we're just adding in little changes in the corners of the mouth, the rolling of the lips, and that's pretty much it. Okay, lip sync is, Stefan will tell you, it's maths. Okay, it's not creative at all. Okay, which is pretty much true. If you have the opening and closing of it right, that's 90% of the effort. Okay, so that's what I want you guys to do for next week. Go and get one of the clips off of Classrooms, which I'll upload today, and up and down for the clip. I mean, literally for those clips, it shouldn't take you more than like 5 minutes to do that. Okay, so it's really not too tough. It's literally just to test the rigs, to see if there are any issues while animating the dialogue. Okay, and while we're doing that, we can say, okay, I don't have a shape which can do this. So then we know we still need to add that. Okay, so for instance, I knew that I didn't have a shape which made that. Okay, so I added something in for that. Okay, so for the jerks, I thought, you know, maybe cool to do something extra. So it's literally just testing the rig to see if we have enough functionality in it. And if there isn't, we need to add it. Cool. Done. Get out of here.